Monticello City Council meeting for March the 4th is now called to order. Will you please stand for the invocation? Bow your heads. We come before you today with grateful hearts, seeking your wisdom and guidance as we gather for this important meeting. Thank you for the opportunity to serve our community and for the trust placed in each of us by those we represent. Tonight, as we make decisions that will shape the future of our city, we ask for your presence to guide us with clarity, fairness, and unity. We especially lift up the hiring of our new city manager. May he lead with integrity, wisdom, and a servant's heart, always striving for the good of our citizens. Lord, grant us patience in our discussions, respect in our disagreements, and a shared vision for the well-being of our community. Let our work tonight reflect wisdom, justice, and a commitment to the greater good. We ask for your blessings upon our city, its leaders, and all those who call this place home. In your holy name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. City of Monticello and Magnolia Garden Club recognize women making history in Monticello.
Let me say this before we start. We're so glad to have the Monticello Garden Club present with us. And this was a joint initiative. Last month we did Black History Month, and this month happens to be Women in History. So what would be more appropriate than women making history in Monticello? So that's how this came about. And the Magnolia Garden Club took part in making selections, and this is where we are. And we're so proud that we're looking within, not having to go outside our borders, but looking within and seeing the great quality that Monticello possesses.
A proclamation. Whereas during Women's History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by women to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas in honor of Women's History Month, the City of Monticello wishes to honor those individuals who have made positive contributions to our world and have ties to our Monticello community. Be it resolved that the City of Monticello hereby recognizes Evelyn Hagan, who is the proprietor and business owner of Hagan Funeral Service, and steadfastly continues the legacy of her late husband, Reverend Willie E. Hagan, founder of Hagan Funeral Service. As a proud mother and grandmother, she lives her life guided by the scripture, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. At Hagan Funeral Service, she and her colleagues are building a legacy one service at a time, and are committed to serving the community with dignity, respect, and unwavering support during their times of need. Duly adopted and proclaimed this 4th day of March, 2025.
Ms. Hagan, would you please stand? Let me read my own stuff. Okay, all right, this is, okay, you go ahead.
You got it.
All right, okay, and this is for this beautiful, beautiful young lady. Hey, come on, give it up for her. Speech.
Thank you all very much.
That's good enough.
Okay.
Whereas during Women's History Month, we celebrate the many achievements and contributions made by women to our economic, cultural, spiritual, and political development. And whereas in honor of Women's History Month, the City of Monticello wishes to honor the individuals who have made positive contributions to our world and our ties to our Monticello community. Therefore, be it resolved that the City of Monticello hereby recognizes Cindy Rowe Littlejohn, who is an author who has penned 4 books whose settings take place in the Monticello area. Her awards include the IPPY Bronze Medal and others from the Florida Authors and Publishers Association, as well as the international competition American Book Fest. Duly adopted and proclaimed this 4th day of March, 2025.
There she is.
Yes, ma'am.
Speak, speak, speak.
Thank you so much. I cannot believe that this has happened to me. This is my hometown. I grew up here. I left for 35 years when I married Chuck, and we came back. I never let go of the family home. We just moved right back in. And Monticello holds a special place in my heart. And thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Can't have
Okay, it's now time, do you have any others?
No.
Okay, it's now time for public comment. Is there any public comment?
I don't think we have anybody signed up.
I'm too stuck in.
Nope. I don't think so.
Okay, we'll move on to the consent agenda. And before we move on with that, the police chief vacation hours, can we pull that out just so I can understand what it is I'm new with the council? But then the other minutes from February, we can go ahead and approve. Is that okay? We'll move it down to new business.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So why are we moving that now?
Do we just want to talk about it now?
Just want to talk about, I've never seen this done before, and I'm sure it's fine. I just don't want to I want to understand it.
Okay, all right.
So is there a motion for the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments? Okay, approved. The minutes from February council meeting. Old business, resolution, CERT radio team, mesh-tastic radio system, Bob Jones.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you all for your time. Nice to come back in front of you. I'm here tonight to follow up on our discussion last month regarding getting permission to deploy mesh-tastic solar power radio nodes to your water towers. I sent some technical information around, and I'm here tonight to answer any further questions on that and hopefully move forward. Ms. Kathy is handing out a proposed memorandum of understanding, which sort of lays out that, my responsibility, our responsibilities, your responsibilities are really not much, other than allowing us access under specific conditions and just see where we can go from here.
Well, first question. You are not opposed, you are not accepted to being able to deploy your towers during a state of emergency that was issued by the governor. You want to deploy your tower 24/7, 365 on your
Well, I would like to deploy our radio devices to your towers year-round, maintain them, test them, practice with them, all that stuff, make them available to any first responders, any other organizations within the communities to use that, train them as necessary, and maintain those so that we would have that network as a backup in times of emergency.
right, and we don't allow anybody access to our critical infrastructure, which is our water tower, which is feeding everybody. So, I mean,
Well,
if that's your purpose, I just want to make sure I understand. So you want it 24/7 every day?
Well, I don't need personal access. I would like to deploy a device to it, and then I would only come on property whatever at agreed time for maintenance and things like that. No, excuse me, no different than other antennas and systems that are on your water towers today.
Yeah.
So we have, which system do we have on the water tower? Steve, we don't have.
Well, I know there's a ham radio one on top of one by the EOC. I believe there's cell phone
You got
antennas
about
on
3 of them over there behind Howard Middle.
Yeah, there's
I don't remember anybody coming.
not
to town.
unusual to have radio antennas on those towers.
May have about 10 on the one over there off of Cherry Street.
Yeah.
Off of what street?
Cherry and Magnolia, Cherry and y'all, but Cherry and
There's
the
antennas all over,
man one have a bunch of antennas on it.
The advantage that we see of potentially using your water towers is I don't have to climb. I don't have to incur that liability or anything else. Given it's a large, relatively flat surface, we can deploy the device using a drone, licensed operators, all that stuff. And the idea is that I can deploy that, I can recover it, I can maintain it from a distance. I don't have to have any, you don't have to include the liability. I don't have to have somebody trained and equipped to climb that tower. That's one big difference between this proposal and all the other radio towers that are in the county and in the area.
I for one like to take a pause and have the city manager looking at it, because I didn't know we had any public antennas that was
Man,
on
they been
the.
there before you.
Yeah, that's not unusual at all.
Well, it might not be unusual, but I know a lot of things have come and we have, and what was being said is that we wanted to protect that any property that was considered infrastructure, because there was a talk of why we couldn't put an amphitheater, a little small amphitheater, and the talk was it was close to the water tower. So if that, I would like to have a report on any antennas on water tower that is not under the control of our law enforcement or the city, just to see that. Because I mean, we can say we had them and they might just be up there, but is anybody using them?
Is there any liability that's occurred?
I mean, I would like to punch this up a little bit. There is some liability in regards to...
Yeah, I didn't get this to you ahead of time. I should have. I apologize.
It's fine, it's fine.
Yeah.
The liability that I can see here is potential damage to the water tower, however minuscule it might be from the drones crashing into it or something like that. But I would prefer to see the city protected in that aspect just through a quick glance of this, as well as, of course, power lines, things of that nature too.
Yes,
So once the drone is up, it's permanent, right? It's
well,
up for maintenance. You're not gonna
the
move
radio
it.
device would be permanent.
Yeah.
You have magnets on it,
Right.
and it's
And it's-
deployed to it. And
Okay.
you know, we would occasionally we'll fly a drone up close to it to update the firmware and things like that. But the plan is that it would be permanent and stay there.
So if one of those things fall off that tower and land over on those people in that townhouse, attorney, who is liable? I mean,
Well,
it's
I
falling
would
off the
say
city tower.
that we need to
onto
modify
the-
this to make that very clear that it's not us.
Just making sure.
That's about it. From the perspective of the city, since all the city would be doing through this would be permitting the use of city property for the purpose of having this device attached to the tower, kind of like a giant fridge magnet. Is how I envision it.
Really. And it's very small, under 2 pounds.
Yeah. But with that line of thinking, we need to have basically a indemnification agreement that's a part of something like this, that says that, CERT, to the extent that they're doing anything with these towers, is liable for what they're doing. This is not the city's
Yeah,
device.
completely
or-
agreeable and expected. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, as the city attorney, will work on the memorandum of understanding to make it more suitable
Yeah,
for the
I'll
city.
punch this up a little bit.
Okay. That's right. And then the process from there is that we come back together in another month, or is there a way to move this forward between here and there? I'm just asking because I don't know the process.
That's up to everyone.
I think it would have to be at the next meeting.
Okay, that's fine. Not a problem. All right.
Okay, everybody?
Also, it was my understanding, that we tabled this, until we had further information.
And
He did.
I'm sorry. I
Okay,
sent that
but
back.
this is just coming.
Well,
No, ma'am.
this is, the memorandum's new. I think
Yeah, the
some
memorandum
other-
is new, but the other information I sent weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in
We all got it.
an email.
All right.
So,
And can you check with the city employees to find out what all these other towers, antennas that we have dispersed?
I'll be working on that.
Yeah, okay, because I'd like to know.
Very good. Thank you.
Anything
Well,
else with that?
Kathy, I'll be in touch about the next meeting or any
Yes, sir.
information?
Yes, sir.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Next is old business, Wingate Consulting.
I have been asked if I might want to stay around for a while as a part-time consultant, working remotely,
Excuse me.
and
I would be missing this shortly.
Yes, sir.
working together with your new city manager and your staff, and just bringing some of the assets that I have in my consulting business to try to help transition into, you know, a new person. And right now you're paying me $8,000 a month. I would propose $1,500 a month, and you would have the same access that you have to me now, other than I wouldn't be coming in to the office driving 2.5 hours a day. Y'all, council people call, city manager calls, I take calls, emails, and keep doing the same thing that I've been doing, just not being in the office. So that's where I'm
I think that's very reasonable.
I think it's
Other comments?
I think it's a pretty unique opportunity, regardless of who we select as a city manager, to have someone who can help transition that person, regardless of who they are. There's a learning curve anytime you come into a new position, and if you've got somebody that's willing and ready to assist in that transition, I think there's a high value there.
And it would be a simple agreement, like the last two agreements that I've had with the city. And at the bottom, it will have that either party can discontinue the agreement at any time. So it just leaves that.
So our attorney Mitchell would draw that up?
Yes.
Yeah, if, what I would recommend here is the council authorize me to both draft that and essentially execute it on behalf of the city, because this is a bit of a unique circumstance. Ordinarily, the city manager would be the one to sign an agreement like this, but it doesn't really work this time around.
Yeah.
But if it's agreeable, I have the prior agreements that Steve, this would be in keeping with that. And it's pretty limited and short. I would recommend that how we proceed.
Okay, so we don't need a motion for that, we just need to agree?
You actually need a
We
motion
do?
to
Okay.
authorize me to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I move to authorize the city attorney to.
Is there a second?
No, sir.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Okay, you will be working on that and have that for the next meeting?
Well, if you, the purpose of authorizing me to execute it, so we can just get it done.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
And that will start April the 1st, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay, the next item is ordinance rezoning, address 123 Nacossa Road. It's the second reading.
Apologies. Ordinance 2025-01, an ordinance rezoning property located at 123 Nacossa Road, comprising 3.00 acres within the city limits of the city of Monticello, Florida, from residential single-family to residential multifamily district, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, and that is the second reading for ordinance 225-01, the rezoning of address 123 Nacossa Road. I think we can move on to the official announcement, invitation for city manager position and backup. You ready?
Good evening, Madam Mayor,
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, members of council. Mark Ryan, Senior Advisor with the Florida City County Management Association. In October, we began a journey. The journey to find a new city manager for the city of Monticello. We had more than 20 applications that were submitted. We worked together through those to develop a short list. Through your staff, we did background checks. We had a great interview process on Monday. You submitted scoring for the applicants or candidates that you interviewed. The top ranked or top scoring candidate is Michael Brewhart. The second is David Schoaf. The third is Kurt Michaelis. It'd be appropriate to discuss, debate, who you choose. But hopefully tonight you will nominate one of these individuals to be your next city manager. then I will ask you if you want to have an alternate in the event you are unsuccessful in negotiating with the top ranked candidate. And thirdly, I will ask if you want to have a member of council working hand in hand, representing the council with the city attorney in negotiating the employment agreement with your new city manager.
All three are very clear. Very clear.
I highly recommend that last one, so we don't have to discuss we don't have to draft a contract.
There you go.
Around.
Say that again, please.
I highly recommend that last one so that we don't have to draft a contract with all of us present in a public meeting.
Okay, so do we all agree with the choice, the number one choice?
I personally think they're all pretty close together. I mean, I think that there's a few points that separate each individual. I think if you look at all the metrics there's really not a ton of room between all three. I think all three were good candidates for different reasons. I think thanks to Mr. Ryan for helping to guide us through that. I think we were able to pick three pretty good candidates. I think we've got two candidates that on paper you know, have a little bit more of the experience. We have one candidate that has, you know, some community interest and ties and can perhaps grow into the position in a way, especially with Mr. Wingate staying on. So, you know, I'm in favor of considering Kurt Makowitz for the position for that reason.
Well, I'm gonna speak. I mean, I understand, but I think we have to do what's in the best interest of the city. And if somebody sit before you and do not have any budgeting experience, any grant writing, and said that what he did was transcribed, when you have another candidate that has written several FEMA applications, have a certification, I can't see that, and I want to make sure. And the gentleman from South Florida is the one I'm talking about. I can't see how, even if I know a person and they've been in their hometown, how you can justify the experience and what we need to move this city forward and say he would be the best candidate. I couldn't with pure conscience vote for that.
Any other comments?
Yes, I'm on board the same. Our employee, he needs experience and we don't have time for it. I mean, you can grow into it, but we need a RAP 9 person on, as we have Mr. Wingate for consulting. And we have other two guys have been in 12 and 15 and 20 years in it, so they know it inside out. From what I've seen, I have a different choice. But the other one seemed like a professor to me. But he had, and he basically a manager with a lot of employers. Not that he couldn't handle Monticello, he can. And the other one is like down to earth. He has the time, he has it, and he just like he would make a genuine, in my perception, he would make a genuine commit right to the residents and the workers of the city of Monticello, and he'll blend in because it's just that type of personality, and that's what I've seen. But the two, I would love to have Kurt, but Kurt just don't have the experience. There's no need to put him in there because we're gonna be in trouble.
Mayor Cox?
Well, I do love McCurt, but where we are trying to get to as the city, somebody has to have the experience and the hands-on experience. And I was impressed with Mr. Brillhart. He even said that we probably wouldn't see him in a suit again. Well, this is what we need, somebody in the trenches. And with the experience, be able to deal with the whole, everything that's on this list, the qualifications. They have to be able to deal with that. So we have to go with the best.
And my comment is, I happen to agree with Councilman Jones. David Schoaf, to me, seemed more down to earth and kind of laid back, but not laid back too much. He seemed very personal. And so it looks like we have three different.
Well, and I'm willing to, you know, I certainly, the Schoaf and Brillhart, I personally thought Mr. Schoaf would, from a personality point of view, I thought their experience levels were very similar, but I thought he would be perhaps a better fit for the community. So that's my observation on those two candidates.
And I liked it, Show, but he said one thing that, again, that dropped him is when he said, and it was, and I don't know if it was honest or whether it was a joke or whatever, but if you're in an interview and you say, you know, we all lose it. Yes, we do all lose it. But if he said he lost it and took something and threw it. Am I misstating? I thought that's what.
No, I'm disagreeing.
No, I'm saying, and when he said it, but regardless of whether you joke or not, I'm judging all the interviews. But I'm just saying that was my breaking point to go to Brillhart, because you're gonna have to have thick skin. We all don't agree, and sometimes, and so we still have to be professional and courteous, even though if we don't agree. And if you sit and tell me that you lost it, and that's the reaction that you did, you know, I mean, either a joke or not, but this is the first time I'm seeing you.
Yes.
When I'm judging you, I begin to think about that. Because if that's the case, I can think of a couple of citizens that he would be losing it every second.
One other I would reiterate, and one reason that he said something that if you have an issue, in the military we call that when you got a problem with your troops and you about to lose it, you get all of them together and you have like a little, we got another name for it, but I love that what he said. Once he think if his people gonna get away, you rally back around them and make them feel like they're important, and you make them feel like they're accomplished, they're workers, they're doing what they're supposed to do, and now we gonna allow y'all in and get it back online. So if you just let it fester, you're gonna have that way. So he to me, got the impression I got. All the things he said. Now that one counting everything, now I saw that will get ticked off, but I don't think he'll get ticked off like that. Bust up the computer with all night, and he said all night. He probably all night and all day, so you're frustrated.
So we've each had a say. Does someone want to make a nomination for one or the other, and then we vote?
I'll nominate David. Is it Shaw?
Sure.
I'll second that. Do we want to do a roll call vote on that?
I think that may be the best for this one.
Okay. Roll call. We'll start with Mayor Cox. Your vote?
No.
No.
Aye. Yes.
Aye. Yes.
Aye.
No.
Okay, so it's 3-2 that David Schoaf be our nominee, and I'm assuming Michael Brillhart would be the.
If you so choose.
If that's what I'm asking.
I would nominate Michael Brillhart to be second if the first one unable to negotiate and get what we need.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay, first and second. Any comments before we vote?
Do I argue? Well, just for discussion, Madam Mayor, would you allow another nomination for the other person after we get through with this? Just for the record.
As soon as we vote on this one? Yes.
Okay.
Okay. All those in favor of Michael Brillhart being our second choice, Mayor Cox?
Aye.
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 No.
Okay. So, I assume you or,
Well,
I'm
I
sorry.
want to make a nomination that we
Okay.
offer the position to Michael Brillhart.
Is there a second?
Okay, this is the first,
Nope, you got second for it. He just nominated the second guy.
okay, Bearhart, that's second.
We have Schoaf is first, Brillhart is second, and we have a nomination.
To be city manager.
I think this is Brillhart
For
for
city manager.
first pick,
Yeah.
correct?
Okay.
Okay.
Oh,
Right?
I'm sorry, okay.
Yeah, is there a second?
All right, I'll second.
Okay, all of those in favor? Again, Mayor Cox?
Aye.
Jones?
Opposed? No.
That's Brillhart, let me make sure I understand.
He's nominating, you already announced, he's gonna put him up again,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
it'll be the same
He
thing.
wants Brillhart as the first round.
Yeah, he wants him to
okay.
be.
My vote is no.
No for me.
Yes.
Okay, so that's, we have a
He's too-
consensus of David Schoaf being our number one choice. And Brillhart, I don't think we voted. Did we? We did vote
Yeah,
Brillhart as number
yeah.
2? Okay. So from here, is it city clerk or Ryan? What's the procedure from here to let them know?
What I would recommend is that before we wrap this up, we select one of the council members to work with me in terms of making those next steps.
Okay, any volunteers?
In volunteer, right?
Just from,
I'm voluntold.
yeah.
You'll do a good job.
All right.
We do have to,
I'll
You
agree.
agree,
since
okay.
this is a delegation of authority, we do technically have to vote on it.
Okay. Although, wait, there needs to be a nomination. Well, you did, you
Yeah.
nominated. Is there a second to have Brian?
Yes.
Okay, and Gloria, Mayor Cox seconded. All those in favor? Aye.
I'm assuming I'm
Opposed?
abstaining.
Yeah.
You
Opposed?
gotta
You
vote.
actually can't
You
abstain.
gotta-
You
I
have to-
can't,
Yes,
then I'll,
you have to vote.
then yes, I will.
Okay, thank you.
Happily.
It's been first and seconded, and we all agreed that Brian will be our nominee, our councilman helping our attorney with the contract.
Now, to answer your question, Vice Mayor, I'd be happy to reach out to Mr. Schoaf this evening to inform him of your decision. But there needs to be formal invite from one of you all, or from the council.
Brian, I would recommend that come from you, just so that.
They're all waiting with bated breath.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I can certainly, if we don't get done in time tonight, I can certainly touch base first thing in the morning and call Mr. Schoaf.
So that phone call will be made, and he will be aware he's our number one choice. Do we need to call Brillhart as well?
Second man.
Okay, I'll make
Could I
that.
ask a question? I thought, the Michael Gilhart had got the most votes.
And
You might have, but
we just voted differently.
Would you like me to answer?
I'm sorry?
Would you like me to?
Yes, please.
Yeah, explain it to me.
Yes, ma'am. The mayor and the council yesterday interviewed all three candidates. They were given a numerical ballot to grade each candidate. Numerically, Mr. Brillhart came in first. Mr. Schoaf came in second, and Mr. Makowicz came in third, numerically. That's up to
What the third one was, Mr.
Mr. Makowicz, the city planner. So now the role of the mayor and council was to determine, was the number one numerical candidate the right fit, or was someone else? They have chosen the second ranked or second numerical candidate as their choice.
Well, I thought, the one that got the first job, I thought that was the one what he said, he'll lose it. Is he the one? He's not
He
the
ain't
one.
gonna lose nothing because I'll lose it with him. We both
Okay.
lose.
He's not the one that's, he might lose it.
He ain't gonna lose
No,
it.
well, and I'll just say for I took that to be more of a
That's the one, but that's
joking
what
kind
they
of
said.
thing.
They said it
I'll
was a
say,
joke, but that's
For, I'll go on record as saying I took that to be in more of a joking kind of statement, so,
Yeah,
from my perspective.
I'm just looking at cutting Trump. When he says something, that's it.
Well, if he loses, we got the second man to call up. So I don't plan on him losing. You don't lose it here. You might lose it outside. But he ain't gonna lose it in here.
Okay, so Brian will make the phone call, and then he is to say negotiation, what's next?
Yeah,
These two gentlemen will negotiate.
and we probably need to get some input in terms of budgetary concerns and what we can talk about, Steve.
So
Yeah,
then
should
you
they
just-
decide on an offer to the man before they speak with him?
I would not put it on public record, and then you put yourself in a box.
Not yet. Yeah.
So the offer, Brian will call him and tell him, both of them,
Yeah.
but then tell them that we will get back with you to let you know when we can offer.
Look,
Is that
we need
correct?
we need to have a discussion separately about the budgetary concerns that the city has right now before we can even establish that. And Brian and I can handle that outside of this meeting.
In my opinion, the city attorney and Member Bachman need to offer the first draft of an agreement to the candidate.
Yes.
So just to understand, my phone call is going to be to let Mr. Shope know he's been selected, and we will be in touch to begin negotiations. Let Mr. Brohart and Mr. Brohart know he is our second candidate should the negotiations fail or for whatever reason. And I will also let Mr. Makowitz know that he was not selected. So, am I understanding what my role is there to start, and then you and I will
just for
work?
the immediate,
Okay.
and then we'll work with Kathy and Steve to
Okay.
kind of pull things together and make this a little more cohesive and official of an
Okay.
Madam Vice, before we move. Do you remember, been a long time ago, we had two candidates, it was you and another candidate, the other candidate bowed out, and you was our second piece, we had to call you? Okay. All right, gotcha.
Okay, is there any other
It's a good
discussion?
day for me.
Any other discussion on this before we move on?
In closing, Vice Mayor and Member of Council, it's been my pleasure working with you on this project. You're a great group to work with. You have a phenomenal team, and Kathy and Steve, and I commend you.
Well, we thank you. You have done
Oh,
a
one
fabulous
question.
job.
One-
Yes,
I'm sorry.
yes, no, go ahead.
So if they're gonna start working on this tomorrow, are we gonna call a special meeting to expedite this, or are we gonna keep waiting to
You just gave us the authority to
negotiate?
negotiate
Make
through
a
this.
final.
Right.
So, when it comes to the final, I mean, we would like to have this individual in place in April. So what I would recommend, it depends on how long these negotiations are ongoing, when we can have that next meeting.
And
So,
I believe he's the one that said he needed 2 weeks.
2
notice.
weeks, yeah,
Yeah.
2 weeks.
so, we'll get started on that, but, it's a little hard to say, like, right out of the gate that we can, whether we should or should not call a special meeting at this point, I think.
You have an April 7th meeting as an option.
Yeah.
If this thing flows quicker, you could certainly call a meeting to ratify the contract.
Yeah. Yeah, and we need, 7 days notice for any special meeting anyways, at a minimum. So.
Again, my pleasure working with each of you.
We thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
We said thank you many times,
Yeah.
but not enough at this point. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, thank you.
I got a question before we close on the city manager position. I think we need to look at the job description for the city manager to see if we need to make any changes so that we don't run into the incident we had with CERT, and then, the employee getting angry at him bringing it to us. But if we have it set, documented, okay, the chain of action, that we could refer to that. Now, of course, if anybody comes with a grievance, we will listen to them, but we need to follow it according to the city manager's job description.
I believe.
Madam Mayor, it's clear in it.
Yeah,
It's clear in this.
Yeah.
All right, now,
It's clear what the city manager's supposed to do. Now, if you wanna add anything to that, and when they do that, talking about, getting the charter review, then that can be a possibility, but his job description's already in the charter.
Yeah, the difficulty, Madam Mayor, because what you're discussing is a subject of active litigation at this point in time, I would recommend that we not discuss this right now.
okay.
And the other thing is, you've advertised what
Yeah.
the expectations are. You'd be basically changing the game.
Yeah, we're a little stuck right now.
And I think we had already gone over the job description before it went out.
I believe that's the case.
Okay.
Anything else? Okay, moving on to city charter committee nominations. I think each of us had made a recommendation.
I have one name to
Okay.
add to the mix. His name is Chris Pratini,
I spell last name.
Prattini. I'm hoping.
Yes.
You'll get it right.
Okay.
Just throw some keys in there and we'll see.
Okay, so I believe we have, let me see, we have Pittman and we have Miss Davis.
Connor,
I'm sorry.
Connor,
Connor.
C-O-N-N-E-R.
And we have Dr. Royster, and we have Lester, Tammy Lester,
Lester, yeah.
and this one. Okay. So from here, that group should get together. And do we need outside other people in the community involved in it? Maybe, I'm just guessing or talking out loud here, the tax collector or.
You get too many, you're gonna have, you got enough right now. You're gonna have a wild, wild west.
Do we need an ex officio member from the
Well, that
council
might
to
be
sit
nice.
on that
I would-
as well?
I would think so.
I would recommend that. I also would like to attend these.
Yes.
I'm assuming that you all would want me to attend
Absolutely,
these.
Yes, 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 yes.
Or do we really need an ex officio council member when they are just gonna make recommendations to the council?
Well, I would think they would
Well,
need to know what we know.
yeah, Robert rules ought to change anyway. Ex officio have the same rights as chair, vice. Get a new copy of it, you can read it. Ex
Don't have
officio
voting
don't have to
rights.
send it, but they can too. They can go along with the
So
recommendation.
we need one in addition to,
Those.
Councilman. In addition to you.
No, I'm not on the list.
Yeah,
So you're not on this committee?
no.
Well,
I could be, would be, but
yes,
but-
yes.
as of now, I'm not.
Okay, so that's
Okay, again, that's what I'm saying.
Uh-huh.
If we picking a committee to come up with ideas of suggestions of changes that they're gonna recommend to the council, now do we want an ex officio council who might be trying to stir the committee, let the committee do their work and come?
Mark, do you have a comment?
I'll be glad to weigh in since I just finished Mexico Beach Charter Review.
Oh, I'm familiar with that one.
I'm sure you are. There was 5 members, one from each council member. There was no representation from the mayor and the council. City attorney was present for all meetings. It was a public meeting. It had to be minutes, sorry. And then the committee at the end created, I think it was 7 amendments to present to the mayor and the council. I believe they adopted 6 of the 7 and then presented that to the voters. But That's how it worked in Mexico Beach.
So
And
they
did
did
that
not
process-
have a member from the council? Okay.
Now, the only thing I would say is we want to handle this in the same manner as we handle the LPA, where we have a non-voting member of the committee, or of the council, excuse me, there, if nothing else, but to answer questions related to the charter itself. And the reason I say this is because while I'm happy to assist with the legal aspects of things, I'm not nearly as much in the weeds with it on a day-to-day basis in terms of internal operations.
But isn't that the service that you offer?
Again, as the senior advisor, one of the things that we do offer is to assist communities in charter reviews if invited.
That's what I thought.
You invited.
That's what I thought.
If you would like me to assist, I would like that in a
I mean,
motion.
that
you
was
can-
in the beginning of the whole discussion that came out. That's why we went forward with picking these.
I wasn't sure that we had discussed that.
It hasn't been finalized,
Yeah.
it's an official invitation.
But in that meeting that when we brought that up, all of that information was laid out there. That's why I was wondering why we.
But that's one of the things senior advisors provide for local government.
Yeah. So if, one way or the other, either way.
I don't want to be on it, so yeah, I think that's.
I think that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think
Really?
that's a great idea.
It done.
Are you willing?
I am willing. I've got a little busy schedule now. I've been asked to help Madison, Madison with their search and their policies and procedure reviews.
You can start helping them after next week. Don't help until next week.
Just so you know that you don't have to pay for my service, just my mileage and any meals if necessary.
So I think, are we all in agreement that Mark would be our representative?
Yes.
So
I'll
we
be your
have-
advisor. I'm not going to
Right.
represent you.
Okay, so I think we have 7. One from each of us and our attorney and Mark, is that correct?
And I believe Mark and I would be non-voting.
That's correct. I do not
Just
vote.
to clarify to the public and on
Okay.
camera.
I will be there as an advisor.
Okay, so, Madam Clerk, do you let these people know and ask them to
I can certainly do so.
get the ball rolling on the chairman or whatever to have the meetings?
The initial meeting, they will need to talk about things such as are going to do day meetings or night meetings, those type of issues, electing a chairperson,
And I suppose I would have to get everybody a copy of the city charter.
copy of the city
And-
charter.
Okay.
And then during the initial meeting, we'll maybe have a list of potential cities to maybe share what their charters look like. We certainly like to look at other ideas.
Okay, anything else on that topic?
I don't know that I have the contact information for all these people,
I'll
but,
send you for Mr. Pertini.
okay.
If all the council members could send
Yeah.
their nominees.
Whoever you brought up, if you could send me their contact information, please.
Okay.
And again, I have to reiterate that whatever the committee comes to, you all make the final decision. If you see something you don't like, you're not obligated to send it to the voters.
And this is a lengthy process. This is not 2-3 meetings, more than likely this is a
Year.
substantial number of meetings. And then on top of that, you all have to vote on it, and then we give it to the voters as to whether they're going to approve what y'all recommend.
And then so that would go through the,
General voting process.
yeah, which is the
26.
county, right?
Yeah.
Be on the ballot.
Yeah, well,
2026.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've
It's
got-
on the ballot for the city. So it's basically a limited thing with the, I would
But they
recommend,
run the election.
Each item that you choose to change in the charter is a separate ordinance.
yeah,
You could have, like, Mexico Beach, 7 different ordinances.
yeah. And it's limited to residents of the city, obviously. And like I said, just from a cost perspective, time it for the elections.
Yeah. then I think we've got plenty of time to get that done, correct?
Yes, we
Okay.
have a substantial amount of
Yeah.
time.
But
Okay.
be surprised, that comes up and gets you real quick.
Okay, now, anything else on that, on the City Charter Committee subject?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. Sludge belt press, Mr. Wingate?
Yes, this is something that we're trying to go work with Felicity on getting a grant for a sludge belt press. It's very much needed at our wastewater treatment plant. With all the growth that you've had in Monticello, we are taking on more customers, producing more sludge, and there's definitely a need there, and this needed to be brought up at a meeting so Felicity could move forward with trying to get us a grant for this piece of equipment.
And then, we want me to speak to it at
You
all?
can,
Okay,
yes.
I will, just real quick. So, like Steve said, this is for a piece of equipment at the wastewater treatment plant for the sludge processing. Based on the conversations I've had with Steve and Joe and that new guy whose name I can't remember.
Scooter Bro.
Scooter, I don't know how I could forget that name. You're getting limited on the sludge production that you can do there. And this will help you dry your sludge, which means when you ship it off, it'll be cheaper to ship it off because you have to ship by weight. If you're shipping water out, that's more costly. So in the long run, this will increase your plant capacity and reduce hauling costs for your sludge. So the grant that we're looking at going after is a water quality grant through DEP. And one of the things that the application asks is if this project has been discussed at a public meeting and has public support. So that's why we're bringing it to you now, so that when this grant application opens, we can say yes and provide backup documentation as needed. So happy to answer any questions about the application or the technical aspects of a sludge belt filter press.
What's the cost of a sludge belt filter press?
They are costly. So just for the piece of equipment alone, you're probably looking at $500,000 to $750,000.
Okay.
So, yeah, and then you have some piping and stuff like that. So, because you all are a ready community and have other qualifications with Florida Commerce and things like that, you would not be required to provide a match as part of this. Of course, if you felt so moved, you could, but it will not be required as part of the
So
application.
the grant request would be for the full amount?
Yes. Yeah, and we're working with the guys out at the plant and vendors to get a good picture of what it would need to get requested for.
Comments from council?
Move forward.
Yes, so we can move forward with the grant request application.
Excellent. Thank you.
Restricted funds usage, Mr. Wingate?
Yes, we have some restricted funds in our budget that we need to take advantage of. Once again, with all the growth that we're having, we have things breaking at our wastewater plant, costly pieces of equipment, and the sludge production is part of it too. So we just we needed permission from the council to go into those funds to offset some of the cost that these expensive repairs are going to entail.
Any comments? Permission granted.
They need a motion on that?
We need a motion.
We do need a motion, okay.
What's that, restricted fund? I move to, city manager get the, restricted funds used. Whatever the process is called.
1 second.
It's been first and second. Any comments? Discussion?
Is Clark Street project part of this? I mean, I just want to make sure we keep
The what now?
the Clark Street, King Street.
It's ongoing. The sidewalk.
project,
Yeah.
sorry, I call it the King Street project in my mind. Yes, that's under design right now.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Just to clarify, was the question, is the release of these restricted funds going towards that project, or is that?
Well, I mean, I wasn't really trying to say I was trying to say a specific. I just want to make sure
No,
a specific project is going forward.
Okay,
Not
okay.
Not
necessarily-
those funds.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Just,
Not really.
Just in,
yeah, just clarifying. So, think there was a motion.
And that was discussion, so all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. It's been first and seconded and accepted that we do allow the restricted fund usage Mr. Wingate has talked about. Okay, the Oakfield Cemetery plotting.
Our cemetery is filling up out there, and I recently had someone wanting to buy a whole section, 12 plots. And unfortunately, we don't have a whole section open anymore. So we have a big part of the back of the cemetery that's unplotted. And we have a lot of money in that budget, in the budget for the cemetery. And I wanted to see if y'all wanted me to start looking into trying to get some companies to give us bids on plotting the back part of the cemetery. That would open up hundreds.
Sounds like it's needed.
And to be
Yes.
clear, those are restricted funds also, restricted to only the cemetery, so,
But there's plenty of money.
Yes,
yeah, 200,000.
$200,000, so.
Yep.
But we need to go ahead and start working on this so we can, when you get somebody who wants to come by 12 at one time, that's good, that's a good little revenue coming in for the city there.
Okay, any other discussion?
I'll make a motion that we open up the restricted funds for the Oakfield Cemetery plotting. To plot the section that Wingate's discussed.
Okay, it's been moved first and second. Any other discussion? All those,
Got a question.
yes.
That cemetery, how much the plot? One, is it 500, 800?
540.
540 went down. I mean, we figured that was $800 a plot. No, I'm just saying, it's so cheap and being bought out. I think we got a lot of people from Leon County coming in there.
Probably.
Yeah, that's why it's filling up.
I think-
You ain't getting nothing cheap over in Leon County.
And I think a lot of theirs are full,
Yeah,
you know, so.
so they gonna fill out. Okay.
Most of the people that apply do come through my office, and there are many who are not from Jefferson County. But there's also many in Jefferson County as well, but they're coming from Georgia too. I see a lot from Georgia. I don't know why.
We might need to raise the price. No, that will hurt our people. No, go ahead.
Well, a lot of veterans and their wives are going to the veterans
Oh,
center.
absolutely, yeah. Tallahassee National Cemetery.
Okay, anything else on that?
Did we vote on that?
We did vote on
Yeah.
it.
I have a question for the minutes and my own understanding. So is the motion to allow him to use the funds, or is the motion to allow him to get someone to put bids out for plotting, or?
I believe that was his request.
Okay. Thank you, sorry.
Okay, Fire Pension Board nominee needed from the council.
I can speak on that if you like. So everyone knows the administration of the fire pension board and the police pension board was moved to a company, and for many meetings we talked about I needed a police pension fund, and that has been filled. But I did not know until just the other day that she also wanted a fire pension board nominee. So if the council could think about that, and maybe next time bring a name, or if somebody happens to know somebody who would be interested in it right now.
So it's not necessarily one of us from the council?
No, it's just for you to pick someone.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not supposed to be. Yeah.
So that'll be on old business next month.
Yes, ma'am, if that's okay.
Okay, Historic District Planning items approved by Historic Review Board. The addendum for 490 Cherry Street screened porch.
490 Cherry Court.
Cherry Court. Thank you. That's what it says. I read it wrong.
Okay. Everybody says street instead of court, so just clarifying.
So Kurt left me something to say in his behalf since he's not here, if you want me to do that. For Cherry Court, he said this is a home within the historic district, but it was built in 2005, even though it's in the historic district. The home design was approved at the time of construction, and the owner now wants to fully enclose a room that is currently a screened porch, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And the Historic Design Review Board reviewed the change and recommended that the City Council approve the change.
Comments, City Council?
Are you ready to go for it?
Everybody?
You ready for a recommendation of the planning? I move to recommend the approval of the reports. 490. Whatever
Okay,
that's called.
Been first and seconded, any discussion? All in favor of the 490 Cherry Court screen porch? Okay,
Thank you.
you're very welcome. And the next, and the next one is 335/345 East Washington Street fence.
Okay. Kurt said this is a historic home within the historic district, and it's located at the corner of East Washington and South Waukena. The owners had previously received approval to erect a historic fence that was found stored underneath the home at 345 East Washington. Now, in addition to erecting the fence along the front, where they did, the owners would like to continue the fence onto their property at 335, which is next door. The fence would run along the north side of both properties and then turn and run along the west side of 335 East Washington, which there's pictures in there, along South Waukena. And the Historic Design Review Board has reviewed it and recommended that the City Council approve the fence as planned.
Seeing they're working, done deal. You ready, Matt?
Yeah.
I move recommendation to approve.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it's been properly moved that the 335/345 East Washington Street fence be approved. Okay, the item from consent agenda that was brought down, the police chief vacation hours. I simply wanted to understand and know, is this a normal, you do it every year kind of thing? And
The reason why I do that, it's actually a part of our personnel rules, and if I don't use it, I lose it.
and you don't want a vacation? I got plenty of vacations for you.
Well, when things happen, just like the other night we had to come out, there's times I work 7 days a week. So when I take off,
You still get called in.
so I do it, I'm just trying to use everything I got before I retire.
Rightfully so. I appreciate that, yeah. Okay, so that needs to be voted on now that we took it off of the consent agenda, correct?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, congratulations, it's done. Reports of the council. Police chief?
Everything's in my executive summary.
Any questions? City manager, interim Steve Wingate?
We have a developer wanting to come in and develop a subdivision, and there's going to need to be some things done that are beyond our planner's ability. And so when that happens, we reach out to an engineering firm, and I'll let Felicity kind of go over. Oh,
Yeah,
never mind.
no problem. I was just, so this is Hadley Peterson. She is our planner in our office in Tallahassee, so she's the one that actually prepared this. I'm an engineer. You don't want me to be in charge of anything planning related unless it's engineering. But she's going to explain to you what this is, and this would be done under continuing services contract.
Yeah, so as Felicity mentioned, we have a continuing services agreement with the city. So anytime there's something like this that's outside the purview of what the city planner is able to do by himself, he can reach out. So we met with Kurt to talk about the project. So right now there's a developer Monticello Pines. There was a PUD created back in 2009. It's in your land development code. They want to come back and change some things about it, but because it's in your code, it has an ordinance associated with it. The way that your code is written for any changes in concept plan mean it needs to go through a full new review. So this in front of you, what Steve handed you, is essentially the contract for the work that Kimley Horn would be providing to the city. We're acting on your behalf in this instance, supporting Kurt and city staff, city manager through this process. So we would meet with the developer, do an entire review of their new concept, and then we would do our technical review in accordance with your code, and then come back to both LPA and then City Council to approve anything that comes out of this. And so that is what this is for. I can answer any questions about your code, and then I don't know as much yet about the 2009 development, but I know that some of y'all seem familiar.
I was feeling that. Is that the one south on Water Street? I know we did put, yeah.
Yeah.
Street
Yeah.
plus part of, Cap, what's that street you live on?
Oh, you're talking about
No.
Cooper Pond.
Cooper Pond, I think somebody going to Cooper Pond.
So you can, is this the one behind the old
Winn-Dixie.
shopping center?
It should
Yeah, it
connect,
used to be
it should
stopped,
connect
yeah.
water to Cooper
Yeah.
Pond if it's
Yeah.
still designed that way.
Yeah, all right. I'm ancient, I was here.
And all these, the costs associated with this will,
Be incurred by the developer.
Yes.
So the way that your code is written, any cost associated with this review is just passed on directly to the developer and the applicant. So this cost, this fee that you see here, the city does not pay, the developer and the applicant pays that fee.
So,
Technically, they pay the city and then the city pays us.
and they're planning on developing from that Water Street all the way to Cooper's Pond, or just a certain distance?
just 40 home, around 40 homes.
40
For
homes,
phase
isn't it?
For phase
Yeah.
one
Phase
is
one.
40 homes.
Just 40, and there's 400 acres
Yeah,
in there,
Mhm.
so.
Property at the Yankee.
So will each lot be restricted to an acre or not?
So all of that, kind of the development standards that come along with that, is the way that the PUD district works allows for the applicant to work within the confines of what you do have outlined in your code to kind of creatively come up with how they want to meet that. So at this point, without seeing the application, we can't say what each lot's going to be.
So once, I'm sorry, I'm really not supposed to ask questions, I don't think, but once you work with them
Mhm.
and come up with a plan, right? That's basically what you're doing.
Yep.
What is the obligation after that for the city? Is there one, or do they?
So if they meet all the requirements as outlined in your code, we would approve their PUD, which would update their zoning, and then we would update your code of ordinances, your land development code to reflect that. Because right now, the way that your code is written, they're restricted to doing exactly what was approved in 2009. And so they're essentially coming back to change it, which would update this portion of your code right here. And so if they do meet all the outlined requirements in your code, then we would approve them to move forward. And then they would have to come back with, this would be for conceptual plan review. When they wanted to do final plan review, they would have to come back again to go through the final plan process that's also outlined in your code of ordinances.
Any other discussion? Do we need a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, then first and second, any other discussion? All those in favor for the individual project order number 001-25? In favor? Opposed? Okay, that's been properly moved and seconded, so it's all yours now.
Thank you.
Good.
I guess I can go back behind it. This will be my last meeting. So it's been a pleasure.
Well, thank you.
We will still be in touch.
I'll be around. I'll be around, but it really, I love Monticello. Always will. And just
Yeah, well, we profusely thank you for the work that you've done.
Yep.
The interim work.
And we love you too.
Thank you.
We hope
Love all
your
y'all.
replacement is as good as you.
City Attorney Michael Mitchell.
Nothing that we haven't already discussed.
Okay. City Clerk.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up to the city council, everyone knows, I think, that we had a bit of turnover over in both deputy clerk positions, but I feel we're on steady ground with having a long-term support over in the clerk's office in both of those positions. The accounting position, Sarah came back, who was here before, so she brings with her a good bit of knowledge. And I've been speaking with her since she got back, and I just wanted to let the council know that she's working diligently to get the books where they need to be. The CPA that works with us every year has come in, spent the day here today with her, and we're pretty good that we're going to have a good, strong report to the council for the next meeting as far as where we stand with our books
And that will,
our financials.
That will include the first and second quarter.
Well, right now she's still working on the first quarter, and she'll be diligently moving into the second, but I'm not sure if it's going to be first or second, but okay. I just wanted to let you know.
I just have one question. Is there and it's just something to work on, to be consistent with the water bill? I mean, some people saying they're getting charged for 35 days, so that bill is kind of high, and then some days it's 28 days. We
do have a schedule where we do it every month, but there was just, because of the holidays around Christmas and then around New Year's, it kind of got a little bit fudgy, and so this bill was a little bit early compared to the other ones, so it was a little few extra days. But yes, typically they're within a day or two. So yeah, we'll be getting back to that. It was mostly due to holidays. So yeah.
Okay, anything else?
No, that's it.
Okay. Mr. Bachman?
Nothing for me.
Mayor Cox?
All is well.
Mr. Evans?
Just want to mention Steve and Chief. Friday is scheduled for the food giveaway at 2nd August on Magnolia in York.
This Friday.
This Friday. And just want to say thank you,
Where is that
Steve.
gonna be at? Bethel?
Yeah, but at the entrance of the graveyard. Just want to say, Steve, thank you for the work. And
I've enjoyed it. I really, and our employees are top notch. Fred, to work with Fred and his people, it's really good. And we've got a great public works department. We're sending more people to school to get the training they need. Everything seems to be really working really well.
That's encouraging.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mr. Jones?
Yes, Madam Clerk, have you received any information from Florida League of Cities reference city stats? You should have.
I received a survey.
Okay, but it extended to the 21st.
Yes.
And usually when we had the Florida annual conference, the cities that respond, we get a little badge. So if you don't forget where you put our stats in, so I can get my little badge down, represent Monticello out of 1 to 4 and 11.
Yes, sir.
Florida.
You have to get a unique link. Everybody has a unique link, and I got that, and I started doing the survey, but it's long.
They extended to the 21st of this.
Yep, it's long and complicated, but I'm working on it already.
All right, that's great, outstanding.
I was hoping to kind of forget, but okay.
No. Let's see. Do we still have the budget committee? Is it still budget committee? Where we at in the budget?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, we're doing okay, but that's what I was just talking about with
All right.
our deputy clerk is working with the CPA and making sure that not everything was coded properly in the absence of, it was vacant for a while, and then we had somebody whose father got really ill and had to leave. So there was a lot of turnover over there. But we're getting it all straight and we're okay. But we have had a lot of unexpected expenses this year, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, this from chief and manager. On Palm Mill East, that curb, a youngster, this evening, I walk that way all the time, and the curb, somebody today felt like they was on a Daytona Speedway on turn number 4. So if we can get a speed bump before you get to that curb and speed bump south of it and north or west of it, so it slow them down. They about run me over.
Is that
It's a deep curve and they just come around there like they're on 500. It's right on the corner of what's the big building? You see the building there.
in the bed and breakfast place?
Behind Morse Petroleum. Behind Morse Petroleum.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right behind Morse Petroleum. It's a deep curve.
Okay.
And we have race
Yeah,
drivers.
the FL shop is right there on that road from the other.
We have race drivers don't respect walkers, and we don't have a sidewalk. So I have to run from one side of the road, and if I have to watch out for run from one side, I'm running right into an idiot coming from that way. I mean, they kill you. So if we can get something that slow it down, please.
I just wrote it down.
All right.
Get with Rico tomorrow.
All right, that'll work. And we good. I think that's it. That's it. If there's anything else, I'll hold my peace.
Okay, and I have nothing to report as well. Not as well as, I have nothing to report. Our next meeting will be in April, the first Tuesday. Is there any other discussion that needs to be brought up? Okay, meeting adjourned.
Wow, that's great.
Thank y'all.
And you would, we had to have this prolonged